Jai Sai Ram, everyone. Jai Sai Ram, everyone. That's good. So, my name is Patel. Me and Shivani are going to be MC for today, for the auspicious day of Swami's birthday. And how lucky we are to have this amazing decoration. And, first when I walked in, I didn't see it. Obviously, first when you walk in, it's the first thing you see. And I thought, this is also amazing. But then I saw that and I was like, my jaw hit the floor. So, amazing work from, the usual altar team. I think everyone knows who this came from. So, really, really amazing work with that. So, in terms of today, we're quite fortunate because today is actually the 23rd and it's fell on a perfect day for Swami's birthday. So, what we're going to do is, before I introduce the welcome address from Nishal there, we'll just set the scene from exactly, what it is now 93 years ago when Swami actually took his birth. But the theme for the day, as you may or may not know, is My Sai and I. So I'm sure you guys have heard all the experiences of Swami's major events in his life, have been, you've had it narrated to you. But what we thought this year would be a bit different, because the theme is My Sai and I, is to kind of tell it from the perspective of the devotees whose lives have been changed so much and for the better because of our Lord. So, Just to kick things off, we'll set the scene with Swami's birth, but you may know how Swami was born, but you might not know the circumstances of the people around and how Swami being born has, affected their lives and everyone else's life. So exactly 93 years ago, Ishwarama, along with the whole village of Puttaparthi, was engrossed in doing puja on the auspicious day of Kartika Samvara, which is the Monday of the holy month of Kartika. Ishwarama's mother-in-law, Lakshmana, were performing Satyanarayana Vrata when Ishwarama went into labor pains. Lakshmana was determined that the puja had to be completed before the birth of the baby, so proceeded to finish the puja before going to Ishwarama and giving her some of the prasada. Immediately after eating the prasada, Ishwarama gave birth to a baby boy, and fittingly the baby was named Satyanarayana, and immediately started to show his divinity. The baby never actually cried during birth, so the devotees around were concerned. And, as a response, they went to pinch the baby to see if he was okay. And all he did was smile back. So that's, the Swami started showing his divinity from the minute he arrived on earth. And at that point, Ishwarama may not have known that she had just been granted the greatest gift possible ever for a devotee to achieve, and that is to, be the mother of the Lord himself. So with the scene set, I'm going to introduce Nishal Govindji-Bhatt to do her welcome address. So Nishal then is a PhD in microbiology, and as a profession she does a lot of research, but most importantly, I think we all agree that she's a pure-hearted devotee. So with that, we'll introduce Nishal then to give the welcome address. Thank you.
Mother Sai. Dearest elders, brothers, sisters and children, Jai Sai Ram. Today we celebrate this auspicious and momentous occasion of Baba's 94th birthday. And how blessed we are. It's not only that we're celebrating, we're also celebrating Ladies' Day. Today was the day 94 years ago that Bhagwan Baba took birth on this very earth. And looking at that Darshan video, we remember how God took birth. He walked amongst us. He sang with us. He talked to us. He lived with us. And he is very much still alive with us. In fact, Swami reminds us in Satya Sai Speaks, volume 39, in his own words, that he is the eternal witness to all that we are. He said, some people argue, how can you say that God is present everywhere when we do not actually see him? How is it possible for him to hear our prayers? In fact, sound is the very form of God. There is no place where there is no sound. He can hear everything, since sound is his own form. Light pervades the entire world. God can see everything in this world, as he is the very light, and it's his vision. Hence, never be under the mistaken notion that God does not know what is happening. Do not doubt or deny his existence just because he is not visible to the naked eye. And so very appropriately, the theme for today's celebration is My Sai and I. Let us take today as an opportunity to reflect on and celebrate our personal relationship with our Sai. He is forever within us and always with us. But of course today we also celebrate Ladies' Day. Who knows when the first Ladies' Day was celebrated in Prashanthi Nilayam? Anybody?
1960?
1960? No. Shall I tell you? 2001. It's a lot later than I thought, but ever since then, it's been celebrated throughout the world and is known as World Ladies' Day. Swami said right from the beginning of his avatarhood that the progress of a nation has to begin with the respect, redemption and celebration of its women. And it was for this reason that he began the college for women in Anantapur. And in the same spirit, he dedicated the 19th of November as Ladies' Day to recognise the rich contributions that women make to society and in the home. So please relax, be comfortable, but also brace yourselves now for a full and energising day. With Swami's grace and will, we welcome our dear guests, Brother Divij Desai and Sister Jaina Patel. We will hear from them later. But we also are blessed to be part of and witness some beautiful dramas, bhajans, poems and dances. So enjoy yourselves. Jai Sai Ram.
Jai Sai Ram. Thank you, Nishal. Then that was a really wonderful introduction to our beautiful programme. It really summed up the embodiment of Swami's beautiful birthday that we always celebrate every year, and then Ladies' Day itself. So we all know that Swami is in many forms, whether that be Lord Shiva, Lord Krishna. So the lovely Halifax SSE girls will be presenting a dance which is a combination of Kuchipudi and Bharatanatyam, showing the embodiments of Lord Shiva and kind of explaining his true form. This dance will be presented by Harshita, Diya, Prakriti, Ritika and Yashika. Jai Sai Ram.
girls, it was almost as if, one person was dancing. And at the end, the pose of the Shiva was really, really amazing. So great work to the girls for that.
It was almost as if we could see Lord Natarajan himself dancing on the stage. It's beautiful, yeah.
Very beautiful. So, as we said earlier, we set the scene, it was 1926, and we envisaged the Lord being born with the circumstances that he was born in. Another way, one very, very big way that Swami, the devotees for Swami love Swami so much and attend, the satsangs, is music. Music is such a big factor of everything that the satsang organization is about. And let's try to take ourselves back to the very first time, when Swami first sang Bhajan to the people there. And myself and Shivani, the year is 1940. Us two, me and Shivani, are going to be attending the very first bhajan with Swami as a 14-year-old. So Shivani, are you going to the bhajan later? Satyanarayana, the little boy, he's been doing kind of a bit of weird stuff, but also I think he's a bit divine at the same time.
Yeah, I heard about it in our village, but I definitely like to go along and see what it's all about.
I really, really like music. I learned classical singing as a little boy.
We're here,
So
we're here in our Monday, so let's go out.
Shall we go and see if the bhajan is okay?
Let's go.
Okay, I guess there was no internet in 1940, so I think that is what. So, Shivani, should we sing Manasa Bhajani Guru Charanam and people can follow, okay?
Lines?
Yeah.
Manasa Bhajani Guru Charanam, Dusara Bhava Sagar Karanam. Manasa Bhajani Guru Charanam, Dusara Bhava Sagar Karanam. Guru Maharaj, Guru Jai Jai. Guru Maharaj, Guru Jai Jai. Sai Hrudayam, Guru Jai Jai. Sai Hrudayam, Guru Jai Jai. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya Namah. Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Shivaya Namah. Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Aruna Shiva. Guru Charanam, Dusara Bhava Sagar Karanam. The bhajan actually really beautifully connects with the next play that's coming up by Bradford SSE. It's sort of an adaptation of a Jaina Katha called Loyalty to the Guru. Our Guru is our teacher. He's the person that teaches us our first steps, our first words. For example, our Guru could be our mother, father, teacher, SSE child. So the children of Bradford will be depicting this through a lovely little play. Jai Sai.
brothers and sisters, today we, the SSE children of Bradford, would like to present in Sai Hrudayam a small story that we know. Our story begins in ancient India long ago in a Gurukul. Does everyone know what a Gurukul is? A Gurukul was like a boarding school. Students went there to learn from a guru, and they spent every moment serving their guru. There were no phones or emails or even letters then, so the children were dependent on the guru for everything. Our story is set in one such Gurukul, where the guru was sage Gautama, where he lived with his disciples, Satyakama, Satyapala, and Satyagrata.
So, my dear disciples, this is all we will learn of this shloka today.
Teacher, would you like some water? Teacher, would you like a rest?
No, dear children, I'm okay. But thank you for asking, though.
Shall we go and do our daily task, Govindji? Oh, teacher, yes, teacher, with your permission, I will go make tea for the afternoon meal.
Actually, stay for one moment, please, Satyapala. We will make our meal soon, but there is one matter that's been disturbing me, and I wish to discuss it with all of you first. So, as you all know, there has been no rain this year, and as a result, there has been no grass. Even the trees have no leaves. I'm very, very worried about the cattle of our Gurukul. The cows have all become so lean and so weak. I'm unable to bear the suffering of these gentle animals. I think these cows have to be taken to a distant place where there's lots of water and lots of grass for them. I'd be very happy if one of you would go. You can bring them back once the rainy season is here and the river is full of water again. I see. None of you are willing to go.
Master, I will take the cows and go. It's so dangerous. The snake's up there. And you can't even cook Satyakama. What can you eat? Don't go, dear friend. We are still little and it's too dangerous. Oh, my friends, you are so kind to be thinking about my safety. But please do not worry. I have our Guruji's blessings, and I have the cow for company. I will be absolutely fine.
I'm so proud of you, my dear boy. Go at dawn tomorrow with these 400 cows and come back when there are 1,000. I will look forward to your return.
And so little Satyakama set off with the cows through the hills, trying to find a place where there was enough food for all of them.
Okay, cow. I think we found it. Doesn't this seem like a good place?
The cows seemed to like the place, and so Satyakama settled there. He would wake up early in the morning. He would then offer his prayers to the sun.
Adideva Namastubhyam Prasida Mama Bhaskara Divakara Namastubhyam Prabhakara Namastute.
The days turned into weeks, and Satyakama continued to live like this. He would chant the name of God no matter what he was doing, and he looked after the cows with love. One day, while he was seated under a tree, something amazing happened.
Such brightness.
Child, I'm Indra, king of the gods and of the rain. I've been watching you closely, and I'm most pleased with your devotion to your guru.
Lord, I'm so fortunate to have your darshan.
My dear son, you have been so absorbed in your sadhana that you have not noticed that there are now more than 1,000 cows. I think it's time for you to return to your gurukul, where your guru awaits.
Indra and Satyakama began their long journey back to the Gurukul. Their journey back would take 5 days and 4 nights. At night when they rested, Lord Indra taught Satyakama the essence of one of the Vedas. Over the 4 nights, Lord Indra taught Satyakama the essence of the Rig Veda, the Yajur Veda, the Sama Veda, and the Atharva Veda.
My dear boy, your gurukul is just around the corner and your guru is awaiting you. So go, now. My blessings will always be upon you.
With this blessing, Lord Indra disappeared, and Satyakama continued alone to the Gurukul. But he was no longer the same boy he left. His face shone now with the splendor of Vedic knowledge.
I think I see Satyakama. What? Really? Where? I want to see too.
Children, remember our silent sitting?
I'm so happy to see you, Satyakama. We missed you terribly. What did you do all these days? Did you see any snakes?
I am most joyous to see you, my son. I know you are now a Vedic scholar who knows all of the 4 Vedas. I am so proud of you. You deserve it.
Everything I am because of you, Guruji.
May you always be blessed, my child.
And that was the story of Sage Gautama and his disciple. It is only a small story taken from a discourse of Bhagwan Sri Satya Sai Baba, but it teaches us many things. Like sometimes it can be scary to do something new, but we should try it anyway. Satyakama continued, tried something new, and he learned so much. We also learn from the story that if you do agree to do something, then you have to do your best and you have to finish the job. We hope you like the story as much as we did. Jaina.
you very much to the SSE children. That was a really, really beautiful play. You know, I really liked the props. It was a great idea with the cows, and really, really good. And really, you know, and it shows how much Swami kind of respects people who respect their guru, and you know, as he says, guru is God. So if we can respect our guru, then Swami will. Swami and, you know, even in different deities, they come down to earth just to, you know, kind of let us know that what we're doing is good, and respecting guru is the way forward. So I've been tasked to move the cows, but I don't know if I qualify for that role actually. So next we've got a speech from Sister Jaina Patel. So Sister is born into a Sai family, and she's currently the Deputy National Young Adult Coordinator for the South Science National Organisation, and the National Lead for Serve the Planet. Prior to this, Jaina has been an SSE teacher at Harrow East Sai Centre in Region 2, and led the Good Values Club in Leicester under the guidance of Deepak Bhai. Jaina is a secondary school teacher by profession, and this coupled with her strong values and upbringing have always made her a passionate advocate for the importance of human values, education as a foundation for creating strong morals and character in children. If there is one thing about Jaina that you learn very quickly, it is that she first practices Swami's teaching before she preaches them. And so for this reason, she's a living, breathing example of Swami's message of love all and serve all. So we're very fortunate to have Sister Jaina Patel with us here. Very looking forward to her listening, hearing her speak. So I'll just hand it over to her without much ado. Thank you.
Happy birthday, respected elders, brothers and sisters, children. Jai Sai Ram. I'd like to say, before I start, a big thank you to Region 5 and all the coordinators, especially for choosing the topic, my Sai and I, because over the past couple of weeks, my parents who are here, we've had such beautiful satsangs about reminiscing about the amount of times Bhagwan has been around, and he's helped us celebrate our successes with us, made sure we're always okay, and it's been so wonderful remembering all those stories. So I'll take you back to the beginning. My relationship with Baba has always been heart to heart and less with the form, and that was instilled in me as a child. It became quite prevalent when Baba left his physical form, and my mother and father both needed somewhere to go and grieve. So I took them to Leicester, and whilst we were in Leicester, we went to this massive auditorium, probably twice as big as this, and it was just filled with people that were crying, that were grieving, and that were hurting over the loss of Baba. And I found it quite uncomfortable. And I remember sitting down, and my father took his place with the gents, and my mother took her place with the ladies. And I sat down on the floor, and I started chanting the Gayathri mantra, and I connected with Swami, and I said, Baba, tell me what to do. I can't connect with the grief, so can you help me heal the hurt of everybody that's in this room and guide me on the right path? So that was when I realised that he is everywhere. So I think the next slide. My connection with Bhagwan, I'll tell you how that started. It started from birth. The environment that I was in, and it was just a long path of listening to the same stories with the same answers that were love all, serve all, and gratitude. So when I was at home, my early mornings always started with my mother ringing the bell at 5:30, even if you wanted to sleep in, and we'd get up and I was brought up listening to the stories of Lord Ram, Lord Krishna, Mataji, Hanumanji, who's my favourite, and listening to how wonderful they were. And through those daily pratnas, I learnt that they were worshipped because they were so kind, they were generous with their love, with their selflessness, and they helped others. So through my mother, I grew up learning that these are the people that were worshipped because of who they were and what they did. At school, as all the children still do, we learn about every faith, and the focus person in every faith was somebody who loved everybody unconditionally, they served selflessly, and they were generous with their time. So everything matched. It was one journey of the same story with the same answers. And then, although I didn't go originally to Balbigash, my father was very strict on integration. So at that time, I became a girl guide, and through guides that was helped, that was spent in a church. I went to Sunday school and learnt about Lord Jesus, and again, it was the same stories. So for me, I grew up learning that God is somebody who serves others and loves others, and that was what I grew up with. And anybody that I met that did these tasks, that was walking on earth, to me, I felt blessed to be in their presence. So, including in our mandir, which I didn't mention, was a photograph of Swami. So for me, whether Bhagwan walked the earth 3,000 years ago, or Bhagwan was walking the earth for me as a child, they were all one and the same. So as well as that, the only contrast in my upbringing was my father, who used to drive us to pujas, and we drive to festivals. He would attend Bhajans on a Thursday, but if there was a festival or a puja, he would always sit at the back. And one day I asked him, we had a conversation, and I said, "You never participate in a puja, or you don't come to the mandir?" And he turned around, very frankly, and turned around and said, he said, "Muni, Bhagwan's here. So he doesn't just turn up at the mandir, and he doesn't just turn up at a puja. He's with you all the time, and you just need to remember to look and to learn that he's always with you." And that was a really strong point for me later on in life. So growing up, I do believe that Baba got me ready for my relationship, my stronger relationship with him. Because up until I was 17, the person that I idolised and who was my role model was my grandfather. And the reason for that was because he was my grandfather, and he taught me Sarvadharma values before I learnt them from Baba himself. So I went to India every year because that's where he lived, and he taught me to be honest, he taught me to respect others. He taught me to treat everybody equally and don't get carried away with compliments. And he never told me this, but I learned whilst I was there about the selfless service that he had carried out in his village. So when he retired in India, he learned that people were travelling far and wide to go to school, and he didn't think that was fair, so with others, they built a primary school. And then when he learned that people didn't have equal access to water, he built, again with others, a water tank. And then when the local hospital came round and asked him and said, "We need a unit to grow," he built that as well. What I learned through that wasn't just the fact, it's not just about funding, but how he worked. So when people used to come and ask him for support, he was happy to support, but he said, "For me to work with you, you have to work honestly. You can't waste time and materials, and you need to look after the people that help these projects." And that was what he did. So for me, he was my role model up until I was 17 when he passed away. And at that time, even though I met Swami and we'd been to Vrindavan with him, I hadn't added Nam Smaran to my daily pratna, my daily sadhana yet. And it was when he left, my grandfather left, that was when I felt grief. And I genuinely believe that that's when Baba stepped in to hold my hand and carry me through the rest of my journey. So then my daily sadhana was Namsmaran and the Gayathri mantra, and my meditation. Next slide, please. Thank you. So, how I keep the connection, because I've always, with our parents, with our families, with all our relationships, there are two ways. So for me, it's always, yes, you can always come and help me, but with our parents, they do something nice for us, or somebody does something good for us, you buy them a gift, you say thank you, you take them out to dinner, and we get to do all those things with our families and anybody that helps us. What do you give to the person that has everything and yet no desires? I'd love even my top 10 to take to dinner, but maybe one day. So for me, there's two ways that I always show my gratitude. The first one is acceptance and acknowledge with his will. It's a hard one because sometimes the path is great, sometimes the path is really hard and uncomfortable, but what I do always practice is, to have that belief in him and say, look, this may be difficult, but I trust you, and I know you're going to show me the right direction, and at some point I will learn the lesson. So that's one way that I always say thank you. The second way that I always say thank you is to practice all the lessons that he's taught me, and I make every effort to make sure that I put those Dharma values into practice, not just for my grandfather, but also for him. And to me, that's the only ways that I can say thank you, is to, his message ends up being my life. And that's why I keep the connections open. If you think about it, as children, for at least 16 years, we're with our parents, we live in their house, so we get to say thank you, and we get to remember them, and after those 16 years, they're ingrained in our hearts. I haven't lived with Baba for 16 years, not in his physical form, so for me, it's a lifelong journey of remembering him morning and night. So that's how I keep my doors open, and practice what my father said, to remember to look, and to remember to have faith. Next slide, please. Thank you. So, by me keeping the doors open, there have been several times when Bhagwan has come and shown me that my faith, my dad was right. The faith that I have in him, is worth it. So I'm going to share about 4 stories where he has had my back. He's been my guru, my guide, my friend, even when I didn't know that I need it. But I genuinely believe that these experiences are like insurance, and once they're paid in, then the dividends, are lots, and they come up when you need them or when you least expect them. So back in 2002, I was at university in Portsmouth, which is 2.5 hours away from my home in Birmingham. And whilst I was going through university, I took a job in a bar, in a pub, a Wetherspoons. Some of you might remember, it's quite old. And my dad, he didn't like that. He wasn't happy with that. And he's here, all of these stories, he's in them. Some of them are quite funny, so it's okay. So he didn't like them. But what he did, which was so loving of him, was regardless if I finished work at 2, at 10, or at midnight, he would call, and effectively he would walk me home. So that was what I did for the first couple of months. And one such Sunday, he didn't call, so I walked home, and I called home whilst I was walking, and my little sister picked up the phone, and I said, oh, can you give the phone to Daddy? And she said, oh, he's not here, he's gone out. And I thought, okay, speak to him every day, and he didn't tell me this, and he knew where my shift was. So I called back an hour later, and my mother picked up the phone, and I said, oh, can you give the phone to Daddy? And she goes, oh, he's gone on a course. And I thought, no, he hasn't. So I left it. By then, in my stomach, I knew that there's something wrong. And I thought, I'm not going to argue. We respect our elders, so I'm not going to shout at her. So I thought, I'm going to leave it for a bit. So then I rang back about 2 hours later. It was about 8 o'clock. And I asked her, I said, where's Daddy? And she said, he's gone on a course, I've told you. So I just turned around and said, who's died? And she said, no one. And I said, no, is it my daddy ma, my grandmother in India, or is it my foiva who lives in New Zealand? Inside, I thought he'd got on a plane and just gone to wherever something had happened. And she said no, so I put the phone down, and then I called back, and my uncle picked up the phone. And I think most of us will have one of these uncles that only drives in the light. Yeah, it's like they have a body clock that tells you that in 45 minutes the sun's going to go down, so I need to leave. So he was at my house at 8 o'clock, and I thought, this isn't right. So I said, where's Daddy? And he goes, my dad's gone on a course. I said, no, he hasn't. And again, as his niece, I thought, I can't shout at you. And I said, Massa, who's died? And he said, no one. I thought, do you know what, I'm not going to argue with you. So I put the phone down, and I rang my best friend. Her father and my father are best friends. So she answered the phone, and I said, who's died in my house? She said, no one. And I thought, something's going on. So whilst I was on the phone to her, I packed a bag to drive. By now it was about 10 o'clock, and I packed a bag to drive home back to Birmingham. And her father came on the phone and said, Monday, I said, Vedam, no one's died. If someone had passed away, I would have told you. And we haven't heard anything, so please don't worry. By now, my anxiety levels are here. And I thought, no. So as I got into the car, a lady called Marla called me. Whilst I was at university, I used to babysit her children. So she phoned and said, my husband's gone out, my kids are playing up, I don't feel well, can you come round? So I didn't want to go, but I did, because she'd asked for help, and I thought, I'll go to her house, and then I'll go straight home. So I went to hers, and the door was open, so I walked in, dumped my bag, went straight into the kitchen, and she was making roti. So she goes, here's an apron, help. And she goes, how are you? And I said, somebody's died in my house. And she said, all right, well, if you're going to go to Birmingham, help me do the rugby first, settle the kids, and then you can go. I said, fine. In that time, her husband came home, and he turned around and said, what's your bag for? And I said, oh, I'm going back to Birmingham. Someone in my family's passed away. I want to go and find out who. And he said, all right. He said, give me your keys. Let me go and check your petrol and your lights and your oil. And I said, fine. Gave him my keys. And he said, before you go, I want you to have a coffee with me because it's late. I said, okay. So, finished the rugby, put the kids to bed, and I sat down waiting for him to come in. So he came in, and then he sat on my left, and then my auntie sat on my right. He held my hand and he said, your father's been taken into hospital. So in that moment, the first question I asked was, is he alive? And he said yes, but he's in intensive care, and we don't know. However, I've just got a contract in Birmingham, so you're going to come home, you're going to come to work with me tomorrow, and then I'll bring you back on Friday. So in that moment, I was teary, but I was also smiling on the inside, because I thought, I didn't want to be here, but he's put me in the right place at the right time, and I'm grateful. So we did. So I drove to Birmingham and visited my father in hospital. We had a good laugh about how I got there, and he said, I told you. Baba says, why fear when I am here? You need to learn to have faith. Then the cardiologist came to take him for his x-rays and or his tests. I'm not a medic. Took him for his tests. And then I went to the patient's room and I must have fallen asleep. So by the time I got back, they sat with me. The cardiologist woke me and said, is anybody here with you? I said, no. I said, but my mother and my younger sister are at home. And he said, right, we need to do an operation on your father in the next 72 hours because all his arteries are blocked. And I said, okay. My mum and my younger sister, they said, how old's your sister? I said, she's 10. And they said, well, she can't come because of how he is in the ward that he's in. I said, that's fine. So I went to see him, and I said, oh, do you know, if you wanted a holiday, you could have just taken me to India, and he laughed. So the following day, the cardiologist had said, bring your sister in just in case. So we took Maya in, she spent the day with him, and then he went in for his operation. Instead of 6 hours, the operation took 13 hours, and I said to, whilst we were at home, everybody kept phoning. There were people phoning, they were leaving messages, and my mother would phone back. And I got a little bit frustrated. So I spoke to my mum and I said, Mummy, I said, why do you bother calling these people back? They should understand this isn't a nice situation, so just take the phone off the hook. And then she turned around to me, something that my father always says as well. And she said, we don't just belong to each other. Your father doesn't just belong to you. He's someone's son, he's someone's brother, he's someone's relative, he's someone's friend, and as his wife, it is my duty to keep those people informed. You know, yes, we're related by blood, but we're all one. So I am going to call them back, and you need to not get angry. I didn't realise, she said that, they're all praying. I didn't realise the significance of that until come 2017. And we'd just come back from wedding shopping for my sister. My father had stayed on. So I was picking him up from the airport, and I was there with my 2 hot chocolates, waiting for him to come out of arrivals. 1 hour left, he didn't come. An hour and a half went, he didn't come, so then I started to get a little bit anxious, and I thought, maybe he's been arrested, because he would have had all of my sister's wedding outfits, her gold, presents from our family in India. So I started to get excuses going in my head of what I would tell immigration. 2 hours passed, he still hadn't come out. Then there was an announcement that said, whoever's with Patel, can you make yourself known? So I thought, all right, I thought, definitely been arrested. So they took me to this quiet room, and then 2 police officers walked in, and I thought, oh my God, he's really been arrested. And then they sat down next to me, and they said, the father's collapsed. And I said, oh, didn't expect that one. I said, so he's not been arrested? And they said, no. And I thought, they said, we don't. I said, is he alive? And they said, we don't know, because there were 6 emergency services that got to him before we did. So they said, we've come to take you to the hospital. And I said, oh, it's okay, I'll drive. So I got up to drive, and then I collapsed. And then the police officer took my keys and said, I'll drive you. So then we got in the car, and he said, Vedam, he asked me, he said, have you got, is anyone you can call? And I said, my dad. And he said, well, that's going to go to voicemail. So then we got there, and my mother, this was in London, and my mother was in Birmingham, and I rang a friend of the family, and I said, can you bring my mum up? So they brought her up, and when she got there, she started to cry again. And I thought, oh. I said, Mummy, I said, why are you crying? And she turned around and she said, there's no one left to pray. And I said, what do you mean? And she said, the first time this happened, everybody prayed, but now they're not here. So I didn't know what to say to her, so then I thought, I didn't have a response. And this was a Friday, so in my head, I knew that on Saturday I was supposed to be at Sai School because that's where I taught, and on Sunday I had a Bhajans class. So I texted them both and I said, this has happened, so I won't be here this weekend. Some of you will have heard of Uncle Vedam, who did the Jaina, and he was a very dear friend of mine. So I was supposed to do Narayan Seva with him on a Monday, so I texted his daughter to say I won't be there. So my father had a cardiac arrest, so he wasn't conscious. When we got home from visiting on Saturday, I got to my flat, and the corridor and my postbox was filled with prasad. What I'd forgotten was that it was Sai Hrudayam, and all of my Sai family had texted me to say, we prayed for your dad today. And then on Sunday, Uncle Vedam was having a Jaina. So when we got home from the hospital on Sunday, my dad still wasn't conscious. I got text messages from everybody, and then my postbox was filled with rice. I had bags of rice in front of my door, and again, all of my Sai family texted me and said, we prayed for your dad today. So then on Monday, when we went to the hospital, he'd already come round. So I was very grateful to Bhagwan. I think I've only got 5 minutes left, so I'm going to end with this one. So I was grateful to Bhagwan that even there are small gestures that he's given us, but he always comes and puts the right people in the right places, and you're always where you want to be. I didn't get to say my other 2 stories, but I wanted to mention Sanjay-bhai, that when he called me, my instant reaction was to say no to doing this talk. simply because I felt that, I don't have the manifestations of Vibhuti and I don't have the manifestations of him coming into my dream. But when we did our research and I was talking to my dad, what we did have was a lot of manifestations of Baba coming in the form of different people and always being there for me, whether it be my Guruji, my guide or my friend. So I think my time's up. So I'd like to say Jai Sai Ram, thank you Swami, and thank you very much for listening.
Jaina a bit of a token of our appreciation, and could you please give her another round of applause? That talk was absolutely beautiful, and I can definitely, as a university student, connect to her experiences. It was definitely... It made me think about some of the experiences I've had as a student over the years, so it was definitely something to reflect on. Now we have the Lidget Green Ladies Wing doing a little bit of a play, which is an adaptation of a play, Do As You Say. It's kind of talking about, I know over the last year as a region we've talked about Save the Planet and sort of the environment, so it's sort of an adaptation of the environment, explaining to people really what we can do as a region to help the environment and sort of, again, do as you say. Jai Sai Ram.
इस वर्ष नवरात्रि कितने अच्छे गुजरे ना?
Yes, वो गरबा रमे, बहुत गरबा रमे, मजा आ रही है.
Yes, Mataji would be very, very happy with us this year.
हाँ, क्योंकि हमने जो माता जी की पूजा अपने दिल से प्लास्टिक फ्लावर और इलेक्ट्रिक लाइट से की.
Oh, that was a great idea, Dinesh. We can use them again next year. पैसा बचाने के लिए.
Yes, Jampatna Papa was waiting. So I was waiting, so I must go home now.
I am Mother Nature, and as you can see, my children have been conducting prayers and rituals in my honor. But they don't understand that real flowers and clay diyas are from natural resources and can become one again with nature. I am present in everything and in the food that you eat, but you just can't seem to see me. So here's a little reminder about how you should be treating the food that you eat.
Chili paneer to बहुत सरस છે.
And mini dosa too.
અરે હેમલતા, તુએ તો તારા પ્લેટમાં કંઈ નથી લાખ્યું. તું કંઈ ખાવાતી નથી.
Why do you have such a little food in your plate? Samavanu nahi, lele.
No, I just thought I'll just take a little bit of everything. Todu, I can always come back for later.
ના રે ના, બધું ભરવાનું. આપણે પૈસા ભર્યા છે. એમાં શું થઈ ગયું?
Who cares whether you eat or you throw away? Because we paid money for it.
Really? You guys think so?
Yes, we do.
Then I must tell you about a story of a family. There once was a family, they were quite rich and all that, and they were actually getting ready for a wedding, and it was just going on. And what happened was, on the day of the wedding,
Yes, Amrita. What happened on the wedding?
they were actually, they were delaying themselves with so much of purchases here and there, spending a lot of money.
But I thought you said they were going to a wedding.
Yeah, they were, but they were driving. It was a highway. They were seeing so many, malls and other things. They just felt the urge to, stop by every now and then and keep purchasing. And when they were traveling, what happened?
Yes, what happened with the car?
Papa, I'm so hungry. Let's stop for lunch, please. Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, let's stop here then. There is a dhaba here. It's a restaurant. Food is supposed to be very tasty too.
Yeah, they again, stopped by at a restaurant, and they reached the restaurant. It's dhaba style, like where you get all Punjabi food, vagera, all that. And the waiter arrived. They felt hungry.
Can I have one person dhokla, please?
Can I put it down, please? Kadi pata kadi pata ખાય તો ખરા પોચોમાં એ સરસ અને હું પણ આવી જાય તરત પોચો ભાઈ we have to go to a wedding. lot of that was thrown away.
Yeah, go to a wedding.
And they were anyway going to the wedding.
They are going to eat at the wedding as well.
Yeah, they were going to eat to the wedding. They eventually made it to the wedding. You know, those Asian weddings, buffet style.
Oh yeah, yummy, yummy.
Yeah, you know, there's a lot of wedding delicacies and everything. Yeah, they loaded a pan. They played with lots and lots of them.
We have got already plate to share, Sushila.
સાંભળો
આખી જિંદગી હું તને સાંભળતો જ આવ્યો છું. તું બોલે છો ને હું સાંભળું છું. બોલ, શું કહેવું છે તારે?
It's a wedding. You're supposed to eat a lot. If it is too much, then we throw it. You don't pay anything for it. So why are you worried? ખાયા કરે ચૂપચાપ.
They managed to finish what was there on their plate, you know. But you must remember, they already had some at the restaurant. They were so full, they couldn't finish any of that. A lot of food was thrown away, an awful lot, you know. But a lot of them was wasted. The waiter, later cleaned them away. And you know what happened after that? What did the head of the family say after that?
Oh, you wasted so much food today.
Why are you so sad?
I'm going to give you...
They conduct the wedding so well.
Papa, you can't throw the money. It's so... Papa, then look at the givers and give free gifts.
I'm going to give you this 50-pound note, and I want both of you to throw it out the window.
Hi. Are you crazy? Ma, wedding નું shopping થઈ જાય. મગજ છે તમારું? પૈસા ફેરવા આવ્યા છે તો?
You can't throw the money. It's a goddess Lakshmi, Papa.
This is no difference to food all that you've been throwing away today, all day. You mustn't throw any food. Food is God and money is also good. You must respect.
Oh, I never thought like that, Hemlata. क्या waste क्या खाना को.
Maybe I don't need any more food on my plate as well, Hamleta. So, don't take more food than you can actually eat, because wasting food is a great sin. And surplus food can feed another stomach. Don't waste food, food is God. Wasting of any sort, may that be the time, energy, money, or even food. Here is a great reminder of careless waste. Two old friends meet to go on a shopping spree.
Well overdue.
Oh, good to see you. Let's go for coffee, and then talking, and then eat. We'll have a wonderful day today.
Yes, let's go.
Yeah. So what you watching on the TV at the moment?
Oh, I like that Coronation Street.
Oh, there's no drama in Coronation Street. I watch Patel Base. Lots of emotional drama in there. Yeah? So, coffee. Please.
2 cappuccinos and a bottle of water, please.
Okay.
Water for you?
No, thank you. I have my own. I can refill it when needed. You can take it as well.
No. It's okay. It's only 1 bottle of water, plastic bottle. I can throw that away.
Here you are, ladies. There's your cappuccino. There's your cappuccino. I
find a bottle of water. Enjoy yourself and have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, what are you shopping today?
Oh, I'm not buying anything in particular. I'm just going to see what's in fashion.
Oh, I'm going to buy another handbag. So I've got many. I could do with another one. Okay, we've come to Bhajans shopping. What's there? Oh, this is a nice handbag. I think I'll buy that. Let's go and pay them.
Okay.
Would you like that?
No, thank you. I bought my own bag.
You want to be? Thank you. Next, please. Would you want any bag? Yes, please. Here's the bag I would like. That bag doesn't look very strong. I think I can have another one, please. Two.
Would you like this one?
No, it's okay. It's only one plastic bag. Let's go and eat something now.
What do you fancy eating?
Anything. I'm so hungry today. With shopping so much. Yeah.
Shall we try this place here?
Yes, that looks nice, doesn't it? Yes.
What would you like to eat? I think I'll have a plate of Gujarati-Droplets, please.
I'm going to have a big box of Gujarati-Droplets, please. Thank you.
No, thank you. I bought my own.
Yes, please. Can I have one extra spoon too? Thank you.
Why the extra spoon, the extra box, and the extra water?
Well, the extra food, if I can't eat it, I can take it home. An extra spoon and that is very useful.
I'll go need it.
Oh, let's go home.
So as you can see, throughout the course of the day, there was so much wastage. One spoon, one bottle of water. This can go on for the rest of the day, and you can just see how much we waste. I am Mother Nature, and I would always tolerate everything for the sake of my children. But now, my rivers are full of plastic. The trees that I grow to give you oxygen are being cut down. It's affecting fellow creatures, and it's affecting you. Soon, you will not have fresh air to breathe or clean water to drink. I am Mother Nature, ever ready to give, but ever so fragile. It's not too late to make a change, so look after me for your own sake. Jai Sai Hrudayam.
I know we all hear a lot about the environment and what we should do, but often we choose convenience over the environment. We have found some facts and some shocking figures to share with you. Did you know about food wastage? In the UK, 5 million tonnes of food wastage is generated within households. Not by supermarkets, not by hotels, but in our own homes. We've got to really consider the amount of food we're wasting and the amount of food we're using during the day. Just to give you an idea, 1 million tonnes is approximately as large as a skyscraper, so you've got to think exactly how much food are we wasting on a regular basis. Also, if you think about the amount of plastic, in the play we've talked about plastic. 12 million tonnes of plastic enters the sea. 12 million tonnes is about twice as much as the buildings in London. We've really got to think about what we're using during the day. So maybe when you're going shopping tomorrow, or when you're going shopping to the supermarkets, think about that 5p plastic bag that you're buying. Should you really be buying it? There are some situations that are avoidable, but Swami says,
We all dwell in your womb. The mother bears all the pain that the infant in the womb gives her. She does not wish ill at all. She wants the infant should be strong and healthy. So to bear with us, you may cause you pain by your wrongs or our errors, our want of care. In any birth, we have so much of ill that we are now in the coils of karma. Pardon us, wish us well, as Durga keeps us safe, as Saraswati teaches how to reach the goal, and as Arjuna feeds us good food for his body, mind and spirit. Give us the eyes to see you as the Shakti that fills the things in these places. Sai Hrudayam.
Thank you very much, ladies of Bradford SSE Centre, for that really relevant play at this, especially at this time. Now I think climate change, environment change, and saving plastic, water, these kind of things, the effects of that we may not be considering because the consequences are not visible for everyone to see. But I think it's a very, very big problem that we face. And thank you very much for putting that into a really nice play and kind of making it relevant to our daily lives. So thank you very much. I was actually, when I got asked to do the MC fillers and try to make time in between kind of programs, it was kind of last minute and I was a bit concerned, but, Swami keeps giving me fillers because this filler is about someone who's left their car in a place where they can't leave their car. And actually I've got a picture of the car. It looks quite nice, and I need a car as well. So if they don't get moved, I think I'm going to have to go move it myself and take it with me. So the number plate is CU10JVR. It's a BMW, grey BMW, so whoever owns that car, CU10JVR, if you can please try and move that car to somewhere else. Thank you very much. Next, we have Gayathri, who's going to give us a short droplet of love and share her experiences with Swami. Just a quick intro for her. She was initiated to Swami's school right from birth, and she's been participating in Bhajans right from when she was 8, and she's been blessed to be a part of various Sai centers in India and overseas. And it was her house itself that was Samiti for many years, so she got great exposure to Bhajans. And where she grew up was Bangalore, and she went around the block, Chicago, Sundaram, and now Bradford. But wherever she's gone, she's always been a very active member of the Samiti, and taking part in save activities, etc. So I'll pass it over to Gayathri. Thank you.
Sai Ram, everyone. Happy Swami's birthday to all of you. And I would like to offer my pranams at Swami before I begin my speech or share the experience. So, droplets of love. This is the first thing I've seen in UK summities, like Brother Prahlad mentioned. I've been a part of various summities in India as well as overseas. But this is a very nice thing to have many break sessions filling with someone's experience with Swami. I've had the pleasure to listen to Sister Nandini, Sister Suprita. It was very nice, and when Kamal Bhai actually asked me, I was so happy, to be honest. But then later that day I started panicking. I wasn't sure what I was going to share with you because I've never had any physical interactions with Swami per se. But then I was jogging down my memory lane to try to recollect experiences to share with you all. But then I realized time Swami has been with me and with my family, loving and very lovingly and guiding us. My journey with Swami, I would say, it started even before I was born. I say this because I was one of those babies scheduled to be aborted because I was going to be a female baby. Like my parents didn't want to, but then they felt pressure. They didn't know what to do, and Swami actually appeared in my dad's dream and then said, "Yeah, you're going to get a baby girl. It's okay. You'll do good." That kind of assurance was given. So, like as I said, my paternal grandparents were first initiated into Swami, so that's how Amma also got into it eventually. Our house itself was a samadhi. I grew up in a rural area in India, and we used to have bhajans every Thursday. It never stopped for any reason. We never used to even go for summer vacations. If at all we would go, it would be to Puttaparthi. So it's like Swami's grace. It was running until the time people who attended the bhajans actually passed away. So, and we as a family, we're kind of opinionated. So if you're opinionated, arguments are parts and parcel of your life. So Swami we put through Swami through bipolar moments. It's either continuous singing of bhajans or constant arguments. And we would put chits in front of Swami to determine who did wrong. But then Swami, he just can't leave his children just because they haven't learned the way to walk it, can he? He just can't leave us. So he's shown so much of guidance to us. I would even say, my engagement with Shyam was through Swami's grace. At that point of time, I was like very confused and I had gone crazy. And I put chits in front of Swami and I wanted to quit my job and I wasn't happy with my engagement whatsoever, blah, blah, blah. I usually used to be the obedient person at home. And all of a sudden I had gone crazy. Swami appeared in my mom's dream and then he said, "Why is your daughter gone so crazy, It's like, she's putting all wrong chits in front of me. It's like the boy who asked, should I kill myself with a knife or jump into the well? That kind of chits I was putting apparently. Like Swami ensured that I came back into his fold again. And he also said, Shyam is a nice boy, good, brave. Their life will be happy. Don't worry. Ask her not to worry about it. That kind of assurance is given by Swami. So, yeah, so I would say, like Brother Nadalla mentioned, like I've been a part of various samadhis. That's because I've moved across a lot. And any time I had to move, I was given an opportunity to be a part of samadhi and seva activities. That itself, I would call it a blessing. And I've learned so much from so many people that I have met with, I've interacted with, so much to learn. Like very recently, this Akhanda Bhajans, like this I must mention because like it's a personal experience for me. Preeti auntie was trying to, get a ride for myself and Shyam back home, and she was riding the whole day. Like she was asking everyone who was going by Bradford or whatever. But yeah, and we were okay with taking a national coach, and we hadn't paid much attention to how we were going to get back. As a matter of fact, we hadn't even looked at the maps to see what was the last bus and all that. And it so happened, at 7:15, I think it was Swami actually takes care. Swami always tells this, right? Like, you don't have to worry about anything. I'll take care of you. This is just a sheer example of that. Like, we hadn't even thought of anything, how to get back home or whatever. Swami actually makes Vijayanand to talk about how are you getting back home. He queues up Sisodia uncle outside. They actually, dropped us at the bus station over there. And what's more unbelievable is, I'll just rewind a bit back. When I last said bye to Preeti auntie on that day, She said, Beta, I'm so sorry, I tried my level best to get you a ride back home, but I really couldn't get one for you. And she was, I could see the earnestness in which she was trying to do. It's just a selfless thing that she was trying to do. And when we boarded the national coach, the driver refused to take money from us. Can you believe a national coach bus driver refusing to take money? It's like he said, no, consider yourself this lucky day. And then, like later, when we got down, again, we went and tried to pay him. He again said, it's like, no, consider yourself lucky. You know, I messaged Preeti auntie, and then later when I got to talk to her, she was mentioning that I was so worried about you guys. The guys are new to this place and all that. She was chanting Gayathri mantra for us to get back home, it seems. I think this was a total answer to her prayers. You know, like someone who can actually chant selflessly for someone else, and those prayers will definitely be answered. That's how it felt. You know, like there's so many instances, so many incidents, like be it anything, like a drought area springing up with water, or like some inexplainable medical change. I've been a witness and subject to all that, and Swami has granted loads and loads of experience. And when I contemplate more on it, what am I actually doing to Swami in return? Like every single member in Sai's family have taught me many things like this, like the selfless service. And there was this girl in Bangalore, somebody that I was part of. She's an amazing singer, but like she'll just get all the youth wing to get ready to do the service. No, we have to do more work. We have to do more work. We are youngsters. We have to do more work. That kind of a drive was there. So I've seen many people, like where they really try to they get into a place where they can't even attend Bhajans, or they can't even be a part of all that. But whereas if you consider me with the amount of moving, I would say I would have packed my bags for about like 20 times for the past 5 to 6 years, moving across cities, and everywhere I went, the Sabati would just be right across the corner, or probably in a commutable distance like this. And there would always be a loving Sai member who would volunteer to take us to anywhere, any part of the activity or whatever. So this is what I would like to say and conclude. Like Swami always tells you pray to me so that you don't leave your hands with me. It's like Swami will always hold our hands. It's like he's not going to leave us. Look at me, like I'm from a rural area. Wherever I moved, if there was a samiti in some remote corner in some places, wherever I have been, then that's a manifestation of divine love, I would say. And that would be my prayer to him, and forever, like to stay in this journey forever and ever, and not to lose holding hands with him. I always pray to him only this. I don't want to leave your hands, Swami. I know you hold it tight, but I should not leave the grip. And I wish that blessing continues, and thank you everyone for giving me an opportunity to share my experiences with you all.
Siren, can we give Gayathri Ben another round of applause? There were some very beautiful experiences. So, our next item is actually an SSE dance by Bradford, talking about the relationship between Radha and Krishna. The fact that Swami is our friend, no matter where we are, whether we're alone, for example, when I'm at university, sometimes I can feel very, very lonely. We know that Swami is our friend and Swami is there with us. So this is really depicting the story of Radha and Krishna and how they're both friends, and Krishna Bhagwan was always there for Radha no matter what. So this is just a little dance from SSE Bradford by Ishwari and Ravandi. Jai Sai Ram.
Why so lonely.
That was a very, very beautiful dance. And I think the music as well was really, really good. The flute, you know, I think that's a Bollywood song. It's one of my favorite songs as well. But in the flute, it was amazing. So really, really thank you. Well done to the girls. So next is, we're just going to have a bit of information and talk from Dr. Vijayanand. And it's just going to be talking about a unique Seva and spiritual project offered by Region 5 at the Lotus Feet of our beloved Bhagwan Sai Baba for his 95th birthday. So, yeah, we can take on.
Sai Ram, and thank you very much. Wishing you all a very happy birthday on this auspicious occasion. I know all the gastric juices are flowing. Please hold them for a few minutes and I'll let you off and then you can have your lunch. Vinesh, is the presentation on? Yeah. That's the first slide there, if you can all see. Can anybody say what's the unique feature of that slide? Come on, quick, if you need to have your lunch. It's so obvious, isn't it? It is Swami's hospital in Prashantanilayam. It's an aerial shot. Basically what it is showing is, it's like a person with an open arms. So Swami always considers, these, he doesn't say them as hospitals. He calls them as temples of healing. So I just wanted to show the unique feature of the architecture of the Swami's hospital. Both the hospitals, in fact, from aerial view, they look like that. So I'll start off with a video of Swami. Kindly pay attention. It's only 3 minutes, but it has got lots of key messages from Swami.
కానీ ఈనాటి మానవుడు ఈ విధమైనటువంటి యొక్క లోకాభివృద్ధి నిమిత్తమై లోక సంక్షేమ నిమిత్తమై ఏమాత్రము పాటుపడటం లేదు.
But man today is in no way working for the welfare, the progress of the world in general by and large.
ఈనాటి హార్ట్ జబ్బులు అధికమవుతూ వస్తున్నాయి.
The heart diseases are increasing day by day.
ప్రశాంతి నిలయంలో సూపర్ స్పెషాలిటీ హాస్పిటల్ కట్టి అక్కడ హార్ట్ ఆపరేషన్ చేస్తూ వచ్చారు.
The heart surgery department is there in Prashanthi Nilayam.
ఇంతమంది దీనిలో ఆనందిస్తూ వస్తున్నారు.
Many poor people are suffering because of what.
ఇక్కడ ఏ డాక్టర్ చూడడానికి పోవాలన్నప్పటికీ డబ్బు చాలా అవసరం.
If you want to consult any doctor, money is necessary.
బీదల గతి ఏమిటని ఎవరు యోచించడం లేదు.
No one is bothered of the fate of the poor people.
కనుక ఈ బీదల గతి ఏంటి?
What will happen to them?
ఈ బీదలను సంరక్షించి బీదల యొక్క రోగం నివారణ గావించి దేశానికి తగినటువంటి ధర్మ మార్గంలో అభివృద్ధి పరచాలి.
Therefore, the poor people have got to be taken care of. They have to be protected, and you have certain ideals in this entire nation.
ఈనాడు ఈ ఆసుపత్రి సర్వత్ర బీదల కోసమని చేస్తున్నాం.
Therefore, this hospital is meant for all poor people.
బీదల పిల్లలను సంతోషపెట్టినప్పుడే నాకు సంతోషం.
Bhagavan will be extremely happy if the poor people are served here. In fact, Bhagavan has dedicated his entire life for the poor people. And this is a permanent one. Some may consider as the one of God. No.
సాయి వేసినటువంటి ఒక సంస్థ శాస్త్రమైనటువంటిది.
Institution started by Sai will remain eternal, permanent.
కేవలం ప్రేమ చేతనే సేవ చేయండి.
With all our serve the community.
బీదలకు ముఖ్యంగా సేవ చేయాలి.
Serve the poor.
ఆ బీదల సేవనే మిమ్మల్ని సంరక్షించేది.
And in fact, service to the poor people will protect in the long run.
రామసేవ అంటారు. వేదం సేవనే రామసేవ.
And then serving the poor people is service to Rama.
ఈ బీదల సేవనే నామైన లక్ష్యం.
Bhagavan considers service to poor people.
ఏమైనా సరే రామాయణ వారికి అర్పితం చేసి వాళ్ళని కాపాడటానికి ప్రయత్నం చేస్తారు.
Bhagavan is ready to sacrifice his life also for the benefit of the poor.
వెయ్యి ఒక భాగాన్ని మీరు పెంచుకోండి.
At least do 1,000 of what has been done.
ఆ ప్రేమను మీరు పెంచుకొని సేవలు చేసి ధన్యులు కావాలి.
Live your life.
కనుక మీరు ప్రేమను పెంచుకోండి. త్యాగాన్ని పెంచుకోండి.
Be ready to sacrifice.
ఎంత త్యాగాన్ని మీరు పెంచుకుంటే అంత లోకం క్షేమంగా అభివృద్ధి అవుతుంది.
The more you sacrifice, the more happy the world will be. That is more important aspect.
Don't waste food.
Don't waste food.
Don't waste money.
Don't waste money.
Don't waste energy.
Don't waste energy.
Don't waste time.
Don't waste time.
Time waste is life waste.
Time waste is life waste.
ఈ కాలం వేస్ట్ చేసేది పరోపకార సంబంధమైన కార్యంలో పాల్గొంది.
Is a wasting your time. Better you make proper use of time by serving others.
అందరికీ సహాయం చేయండి. ఎలాంటి వాళ్ళున్నా ఇది మన శక్తి కొద్ది వాళ్ళకి సహాయం చేయండి.
Be ready to serve others to the extent possible.
అది
That's what Bhagavan wants you to do.
That was a wonderful message from Bhagavan. So, did anybody notice can anybody say any of the key messages which I was looking for in that talk? Don't waste food. I think earlier the ladies did a wonderful presentation. Don't waste food, don't do shopping, and don't have cappuccino, save plastic bags. But I think if the ladies, wonderful message, if they reduce the shopping, we can do a lot. So, next, that's the hospital in Prashanthi Nilayam. It was opened in 1991, and I'll tell you in a minute why I'm showing these pictures. Vinesh, next slide. So it was opened in 91, and around nearly now 28 years, they have performed around 30,000 cardiac surgeries, out of which around 10,000 are valve surgeries. So it's around 350 per annum. Next slide. Yeah, the same again. So around 30,000 cardiac surgeries with around 10,000 valve surgeries in Prashant Nilayam Hospital. And the next slide is, this is the Whitefield Hospital. It was opened in 2001. That was actually the discourse given by Swami on the occasion of opening of the Whitefield Hospital. And it was a 1-hour discourse, which I actually edited to 3 minutes. So kindly go and watch it if you want to see the full one. Next slide. Yeah, again, the number of procedures done in Whitefield Hospital over the last 18 years is almost around 25,000 cardiac surgeries. There are lots of other surgeries going on. I'm just talking about the cardiac. Next slide. So, why Sai Hrudayam? Basically, Hrudayam means heart, and as you have seen, Swami stressed so much on the the seva which is offered by the hospitals. Heart disease is very common in India, and especially valvular heart disease, and it unfortunately affects young people. Most of the times, if the breadwinner is affected by this disease, the whole family is suffering. So, if we can, support the surgery, valve surgery, I think it makes an entire difference to the whole family. That's the whole reason why we actually initiated this project. Next slide. So as I said, you can see it affects young people, and mainly, as you have seen, around 350 valve surgeries are performed per annum in Swami's hospital. Next one. Yeah, so this project we announced in last year, Aradhana Mahotsavam. Actually, it all started as a very small initiative. If you all know Bharat, he had I've taken his consent to actually talk about this. So he had a MI, which is heart attack, and he was admitted in Swami's hospital, and he had a procedure performed there, and while he was in Prashant Nilayam. So he came back very, and he had lots of praise for the service he had got there. And we started on a small initiative to support the hospital with this kind of support for cardiac surgery. And then when the message went out, there were a few more people. So on Aradhana Day itself, around 30 people approached me and said, we are happy to support cardiac surgery in Swami's hospital. So by that afternoon, around 40 valves were already pledged by our devotees in Region 5. So, by Swami's grace, that was announced that day. And so this main reason is, we are doing this as a service and spiritual offering. It's just not, as Swami said, the important thing is the love and sacrifice. It's just not doing some kind of donation and washing your hands off. So basically, this is a commitment in terms of, out of your love and sacrifice and sealing on desires, as we were seen earlier. If we can sacrifice a little from our daily lives, I think we can support somebody's life. So the ultimate point is basically to go to Swami's, abode of highest peace, which is Prashant Nilayam, for Swami's 95th birthday. So that is culminating in the pilgrimage. So this project is basically doing a bit of service, and during this 1 year leading up to 95th birthday, we will aim to do 95 Rudram chanting. We'll also do some, as part of the Rudram, we'll also organize some Bhajans. Maybe in the summertime, we'll do a whole day of Rudram chanting. So the idea is basically to offer Swami 95 heart valves and also 95 Rudram chanting during this year. Next slide, please. So by now we have already pledged for 54 valves, and we have transferred the amount for 44 heart valves already to Prashanthi Central Trust in March 2019. So we are already more than halfway through our mission. Next slide. As you can see, there's lots of devotees involved. Obviously, Bradford tops the list. And we have got devotees from all parts of Region 5. There are also a few from far away, even outside Region 5. Next slide. So the main thing is, if anybody is interested, please send an email to sairudayam95@gmail.com. And there will be a reply. Me or Bharat, we are looking into this email. So we'll come back to you and tell you more about the details. The process is basically, we are taking the support of the UK Trust. The reason is, if any contributions go into the UK Trust, we'll also get a gift aid. So there is no, we don't add much value by sending it directly to the Central Trust. Next slide. So, as I said, we'll form a team with the regional chair, service coordinator, spiritual coordinator, and the Ashok Bhai, Pritiben, Sanjay, etc. And as I said, going ahead, we'll plan for 95 Rudram chanting and Bhajans. That's the spiritual side of things. So, don't, as Swamis from the discourse, don't feel that this is some hospital, this is not Swami's hospital, we are supporting that hospital. It's not separate. I remember in one conversation when my friend asked Swami, while he was studying engineering, he asked Swami, Swami, can I study MBA in your college? And then Swami said, this is not my college, this is your college, and please feel free and study whatever you want anytime. So this is not Swami's hospital, this is our hospital, and it is our responsibility to take care of it. And also, one of the other things Swami said is, all these institutions are permanent. When Swami said that, he said that out of his faith in us, and as devotees, it is our responsibility to take care of Swami's institutions. The reason why I showed those two hospitals is, there are lots of other hospitals in the name of Satya Sai or Sai or whatever. But please, these are the two main hospitals which Swami himself has inaugurated, and this is what we have to support. And on that note, thank you very much. Enjoy your lunch. And that's just the concluding slide. I was thinking, actually, sometimes it's lucky to be a patient if Swami is actually bedside. But anyway, thank you, and I hope all that is clear. I might have rushed a bit, but if anybody needs any more information, please find me. Thank you very much, Sai Hrudayam.
Thank you, Vijayanand, for that lovely presentation on Sai Hrudayam. Hopefully everybody can participate and get involved with this project.